Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and any of our affiliates across the country. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. Busy hour coming up in 15 minutes. Busy card tonight in Major League Baseball. Great numbers on the card. Brad Powers, bottom of the hour, full 30 minutes. Week 0 analysis and bets, maybe a little week 1 as well, and college football talk in general. We'll begin here with Bill Barnwell's annual column that he has at ESPN.com, his 5 teams most likely to improve. Tomorrow we'll do 5 teams most likely to come back to the pack. Before we get into that, how many, you know, top of your head, how many win totals you have right now in the NFL?
Lions over, Miami, Arizona, Bears, Browns under.
Those are all in pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on Lions over, Saints over, Packers under.
I can see that.
A couple of different ways this year.
Mm-hmm.
In the fantasy draft that we had last year, futures draft, these are not in pocket, but in that draft where it's tricky, I did have the Colts under plus 7.5, plus 115. I think that might be worth a bet.
I think it will look completely different once week 1 rolls around and they got the starters out there, but to each his own.
Okay.
Since 2017, his annual column, 35-8, over 80% picking teams to improve on the previous season's record. The average team has gotten 3.5 games better after adjusting for the 17-game schedule. If you include the picks for teams that will decline, the back-to-back columns are 69-17 in accuracy. And somebody must have said something to him because he pointed out it's 59% with the win totals as well, with ProFootballReference.com.
Well, that's a big part of this whole thing, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that you could, like, for example, one team to improve this year. I know you're going to get into the whole list here, Pauly, but the Giants certainly can improve from 4 wins. I expect them to.
Can they go over 7.5?
That's exactly right.
Yep. But on history, it says they should get to 7 based on what he's done at least.
Yep.
Sure, fair enough. So history suggests 4 of the 5 teams that we're going to talk about will get better. And there's an eclectic mix here as well. Starts with Kansas City. 6-11 last year. 1-9 in games decided by 7 or fewer points. Plus 34 point differential. Projected strength of schedule, 14th easiest. They're coming off a 15-2 regular season. They went 10-0 in games decided by 7 points or fewer, an NFL record. And Mahomes was 43-17 in one-score contest. And then it flipped and went in the other direction, and everything went wrong for him. And it started with that 6-point loss to start the season against the Chargers, and how every close call seemingly went against them, and the wheels came off. But the 2024 Chiefs outscored their opponents by 59 points, roughly 3.5 points per game. The 2025 Chiefs, if we don't include the post-Mahomes game, outscored their opponents by 60 points, which is just under 4.3 points per game. Point differential suggests those teams should expect to get about the same number of wins over a full season with the average amount of luck and timing. And he pointed out it'll correct itself. And Kansas City, how many do they win? He's probably saying 10. Going back on history.
Well, okay. So again, every book will offer alt win totals nowadays. DraftKings says over 9.5 minus 160. Here's the deal. Can they get to 11 wins this year? Because that pays plus 115. Are they an 11-win football team?
That's a tough call. Yeah, damn, that's a good division.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think they're 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I think that's their ceiling.
Okay. So this is the perfect time to talk about it, too, and point out how crazy last year was. 7 teams saw their records improve or decline by at least 6 wins, the most in any campaign since 2008.
Wow.
The Patriots went from 4-13 to 14-3, the largest by any team since 1999. We keep asking the question, who's this year's Patriots? Some people don't think it's going to happen. I'm not expecting that big a jump. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I think it could happen. How about Jacksonville? They went from 4-13 to 13-4, and the 49ers went from 6-11 to 12-5.
That's 6-11. I mean, a lot of times you're going to have cluster injuries for a team like that.
Yeah. And
so it's going to be much like the Chiefs, easy to kind of predict that, yeah, they're going to be on the bounce back this year.
Number 2, Detroit Lions, 9-8, 2-5 in games decided by 7 or fewer points, plus 68 point differential, projected SOS second easiest. The Lions dropped from 7-2 in one-score games to 2-5. How about the painful Sunday night game against Philly? 0 for 5 on fourth down. 6 trips in Philly territory. 9 points. Thought they were going to beat the Steelers. That didn't happen. They failed to recover all 5 fumbles in a 23-10 loss to the Vikings. Brosmer had 3 net yards passing, and they won that game. Failing to fall on fumbles is a problem for the Lions. They recovered just under 29% of the fumbles on offense and defense last season, which was the worst mark in the league, and just the 5th time since 1990 that any team has failed to recover at least 30% of fumbles in a season.
Wow.
That is shocking.
So that basically has to come back to the pack.
Unlike the Chiefs, the Lions were ripped to shreds by injuries. They were last in adjusted games lost on defense, where only the starters who suited up for all 17 games were Campbell, Barnes, Hutchinson. 2 of those 4 were first-team All-Pros. And now you got some injury concerns already.
Yeah, you do. That's concerning, clearly.
But again, it comes back to the schedule, too, and it's just all that luck in the close. Still, everything that went wrong, they still got 9 wins last year.
I will remind people, again, going back 2 years ago, the injuries were probably worse.
Okay.
They were picking up guys on practice squads late in the season, and they had to wear name tags at practice. They were so you and I are both on the over. I think their ceiling this year, again, if they don't lose a zillion guys, would be 12 or 13 wins. Over 11.5 is plus 175 at DK. Over 12.5 is plus 320.
Here's the tough one, as you talked about. Again, he's got the Giants on the list. The win total 7.5. So you can say, they improved it, but they win. But still, it's a disappointing season if they win 6 games, as they are the number 1 bet over team. But 4-13 last year. It was a disaster with how they blew games. Comedy. 1-6 in games decided by 7 or fewer points. Fired the DC. Minus 58-point differential, 8th toughest schedule. They performed at a 7-win rate last year. The Giants are one of only 13 teams since 1990 to finish 3+ wins short of their expected win total by point differential, joining last season's Chief on that list. They blew that lead in week 2 to the Cowboys. 5 weeks later, up 26-8 with 10 minutes left against Denver, somehow lost. Blew a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter against the Bears. Dable kicked a field goal from the 1-yard line. Lost that tough game against Detroit. They were up 10 with 12 minutes left. Also, the Vikings lost as well. 6 losses, Barnwell writes. 6 losses. That could have gone the other way against teams with winning records. They held 4th quarter leads in 5 of the 6 and had the lead in the final minute in 3 of them. They lost 4 games where they had a win probability of at least 90% in the 4th quarter. The rest of the league lost 15 of those combined. They're the 4th team to lose 4 of those games in a season. And hello, now you bring Harbaugh in.
Well, I remember when the season was unfolded last year, I told myself that the Giants are going to be a team that I'm going to want to be on with positive bets, a lot of them coming up this year. And then as you learned of the opponents for the next season based on a last place schedule, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be it this year. So there should be, in theory, a lot to like about them, but the schedule is too difficult for me to get on board. They will be an improved team record-wise, but how improved is the question.
Okay. Jets.
Yeah, I don't think they get to 8.
I'm with you. Jets, 3-14. 3-5 in games decided by 7 or fewer points. Minus 203 point differential. 6th easiest schedule. Didn't have a single interception. First time in NFL history. Also unlucky in terms of recovering fumbles. Ranking 31st behind the Lions. Grabbing just 35% of loose balls in their games. On defense, they recovered 4 of the 14 fumbles they forced. Those 4 turnovers they forced are the fewest by any team since 1934. Minus 19 turnover differential. Adjusting for the 17-game season, there have been 34 teams since 1990 to finish with a turnover margin between minus 22 and minus 16. The following year, the turnover margin improved by an average of nearly 20 turnovers, and they got much better in the process. They won an average of 3 more games the following season. Last example, the 2022 Jags, who recovered from the Urban Meyer fiasco to go 9-8 and win the division. He's not saying that. but thinks there's an improvement and 6 wins.
Now, I wouldn't be stunned if they have like double-digit INTs this year, right? If suddenly just completely reverses course, and I'm not going to call it for like an all-time record, but they're picking off passes like a normal team would. The biggest problem I have is the coach-quarterback combo. Now, maybe Geno goes out there and plays better than he did last year. I think he actually has some pretty decent weapons, but I can't get over watching their games last year, especially the Bronco game when we were specifically that game because you and I were live on the air for the Sunday morning show.
Yeah.
We didn't even have the volume. We're like, I can't understand what we're watching right now. It made no sense.
And what he did before halftime.
He was a losing head coach across the board last year with his decision making.
Awful in the red zone. 4.2 points per red zone trip. Worst mark in the NFL. And one more, Baltimore, 8-9 last year. Should have won the division. 1-4 in games decided by 7 or fewer points. Plus 26-point differential. 5th easiest projected strength of schedule. Started 1-5, won their next 5. Week 18. Missed the field goal with Loop. Harbaugh fired after his 18-year tenure. Jackson sidelined by hamstring injury as well. It should change for Baltimore coming up, but we expect at least 11 wins, though. But that's, again, tough with the win total and on par with what he suggests. But they should get back to 11 wins, according to Barnwell. 4 of the 5 should hit.
Tonight's Major League Baseball card is up next. Biggest edge on the K-prop board tonight with the Opta AI projections at vsin.com is a pitcher that you will definitely need to hold your nose with while betting.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with vSIN Pro. With vSIN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using vSIN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We have a good card tonight, Major League Baseball. A lot of strong numbers here. I will pay off the tees right away because otherwise I'll probably forget about it. Bad job out of me. But the number one value play with a K-prop tonight at vsin.com with the Opta AI projection. Did you see who this is?
No.
You want to take a guess? I said you have to hold your nose by betting this guy.
Singer?
That's a good guess. He's actually their 5th biggest edge. It's Mad Max.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah, so
I won't.
4+ right now at DK is minus 141. They're projecting more than 5, and they make the number minus 291 tonight.
Can they do it again?
God bless you. I hope they're right. I can't bet it, though.
Yeah, I see runs. Kansas City's hot. This winning streak, this is 8 in a row. Now, Fangraphs projects the final wild card in the American League to have 81 wins. Think about that. And a lot of these teams play one another. So Kansas City would have to go like 23-7. Yeah, stranger things have happened.
Well, certainly teams have gone on runs before. And by the way, there is this. They are 8-0 in their last 8 games versus a team with a losing record. And Salvador Perez against Mad Max in his career, 13 for 35. That is a 371 clip. 6 extra base hits. 4 of those have left the yard. Good numbers there.
Thank you.
He's kind of owned him in his career.
Uh-huh.
It is Lugo going tonight.
Yeah.
But which Seth Lugo are you going to get?
Yeah. And Toronto can do this too, because they have the second easiest schedule left that they're in the mix now. We start with the Red Sox, though, at 3:40 Pacific, taking on Miami again. Miami, 35-16 against the worst teams in baseball. When they play anyone good, it's an unmitigated disaster.
Oh, what happened again last night with Alcantara on the mound?
Yep.
No run support yet again for that guy.
Boston, run differential, 8th inning on. Second best, plus 42.
Wow.
Cardiac hits. How about the Friars? The Padres lead. They're plus 66.
Well, that makes sense, though, because you're going to get nothing off the back end of that bullpen.
The Red Sox are 20-1 in their last 21 games against teams with a winning record. Get out of here. How well they're playing.
What's the craziest World Series matchup you could see? I don't even think it's crazy to say the Red Sox anymore.
No, it's not, because they're going to get guys back.
Yeah.
These guys are coming back. They're rehabbing and they're playing an unbelievable ball, especially against good teams. You throw out the stuff against the A's and some of the other shenanigans. Sure. It's just a long season.
Would Boston, Philadelphia move the needle for you?
That could happen.
Yeah,
sure it could.
Boston
Cubs.
That'd be huge.
The one we should have got.
It'd be a monster.
Bartman blew it and Pedro blew it.
Yeah,
that would be a monster. That's it. I don't think that's crazy, but they just find ways to win. And Miami's fugazi. $1.40 seems cheap here as well.
I would agree.
Yep.
I don't
know. And the way
know,
he's pitching, too.
Yeah, I don't know how much baseball I'm going to be betting over the next couple of weeks. I love looking at the numbers. We'll share them here on the network, point out some great information. The reason being is because, and I did bet it last night, but how many times did I point it out? Yesterday, Burns going against the Giants.
Right. It's
the mother of all great betting opportunities.
And then regression's coming, though, too. Let me say it again. Favorites 15-0 Friday. 11-3, 12-3, and then 6-4.
Right.
You finally had a couple upsets.
Sure.
But then also what happened Saturday with all the comebacks and teams couldn't hold it. Yankees, Warren's going against the Astros. Varsho is 4 for 5 career against them with 2 bombs. Warren is $1.40. The kid for Houston is from the area. 2 hours away. Family and friends will be there. They were supposed to clean up on this 9-game homestand. They went 3-6 and fired their GM, and now they're no longer in first place. Since June 30th, Yankees #1 in ERA, 3 runs or fewer, 16 of the last 22. They can just get this offense going. My God. But that seems cheap as well. How bad Houston's been.
Yeah, but Warren has been, Paul, he's been so bad. His ERA, last 12 appearances, it's hovering around 6. Adam Burke's best bet is on Astros tonight at plus 131. To your point about getting the sticks going, the under is 11-0 in the Yankees' last 11 games after scoring 5 runs or more the previous game.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying but Warren has been a gas can out there. I can't believe how bad that guy's been. I had high expectations for him.
I think the moment's going to be too big for this kid, though, too. All these family and friends coming to the ballpark, are they going to blow up on him as well? Might need a diaper out there. How about the series in Atlanta? Glasnow, his first start since May 6th. He's $1.50 on the road against Elder. Atlanta's lost 7 of 10. This is a race now. The Phillies only 3.5 back. But after this series, it's Colorado, the Giants, and the Nats. You got to get on board with Freddie Freeman props. Total base is only 1.5 plus money over. In Atlanta, he's reached base in the last 13, 3 home runs, hitting .340. But Glasnow, again, could only go 80 pitches. So, but do they get to Elder here? And now that they've played some bad teams, though, but now the Dodgers on a nice winning streak. Well, trying to run down Milwaukee.
A couple of responses I want to get to based on what we said about Glasnow, probably not playing him tonight in the most Cape market. So good point from our producer, Luke. Blake Snell won the most K's market a few weeks ago when he was on a limited pitch count. And this is from Roger on X.
Yeah, it's also who you're going against, though, too.
Well, I understand.
I mean, Gavin Williams' situation sets up beautifully.
Right. Roger tweeted me and said, I just saw Glasnow in his last rehab start. He looked dominant, granted AAA, but he went 5 1/3, 77 pitches, 54 for strikes, 9 Ks. I mean, he's got the kind of stuff to where if it's going to be 80 pitches, he can strike out 9, 10. Is that enough, though, is the thing? I think because Justin has been tracking this here with money moves the entire year. I think you have to have at least 10 or 11 to win this market typically.
Well, I hope 9 can do it. I think Williams could do it tonight. How about the Brewers? How about this stat? They have the best record in baseball. 9th consecutive winning season. 17th in payroll. What an organization. They're last in home runs. It's happened once in the history of baseball. 1959, the White Sox had the best record and the fewest home runs. Contreras is on fire, 13 for his last 29. You look at his props tonight as well. Harrison's $1.50 against the Mets on the road.
Right. My guess is come playoff time, probably NLCS, that's when the lack of home runs will come back to bite Milwaukee in the hind end.
Okay.
Because other teams
ball won't work.
Yeah, it won't work. And somehow, some way, despite their great pitching, here's a 3-run shot by Schwarber, or here's a 3-run shot by Ohtani, And now the Brewers all of a sudden are trailing by a score of 5-2. And how are they going to make up that differential? They won't. They have to claw back into the game with small ball late against good bullpens typically. And that's not a great recipe. Here's one. Do the Mariners get hot? I mean, after a 19-2 drubbing, they bounced back last night. Now they're throwing George Kirby out there tonight.
I think so. But he's been great at home last 4. And you don't know what Nola's going to give you. Philly's favored. Come on. Like the Giants are favored against the Reds. Hauser's been good, but what do we do? This is crazy.
I know.
Right?
So it is, like, at this point of the year, how much stock should we put into home road splits? Because you're exactly right. In his last 4 home starts, George Kirby, 5 innings, 1 run, 7 innings, no runs, 6 innings, no earned. There was an 8 inning start in there, 2 earned. He was awesome, 7 Ks. But on the road, his last 3 starts on the road, 3 1/3, 6 earned, 4 2/3, 5 earned, 4 innings, 7 earned. Is it that big of a deal for him? Really? The recent numbers don't lie and tell you that it would be.
Did you get on Tampa Bay last night?
I did not.
7 in a row for Rasmussen now.
I did not.
7 straight wins. They're throwing. It's not Seymour. They're throwing a different guy now, but they've won 14-17 on the road. Detroit's lost 9-10. It's over. It's Job going for Detroit. And the other one, give you 2 more. Cleveland's won 6 in a row against the Angels. We mentioned the Williams numbers. LA second in K rate. Cleveland starters 2 earned runs or fewer, 7 in a row. They're now in the playoffs, if you can believe it. They're only 2.5 behind the White Sox. Cubs are 4-0 against Arizona. Cubs 26 consecutive runs, 20 against their opponents, 20 with 2 outs, 42 bombs in the month of August. Wow. It's fought though, but he was shaky at last start in Fenway. And who are the Cubs? Oh, it's Holmes. Yeah, Holmes. $1.10. Cubbies on the road.
I don't know. Maybe
I think they keep it going. The offense has been too good.
So do I. Yeah, I think that the offense there for the Cubbies outweighs Fott's recent run. Yeah. And, I'll throw away the last start, but I think the Cubs get them tonight a little bit.
All right. Football season's here. 4 preseason games back on Thursday. Week 0 Saturday in college. The Sharps has a free weekly league. Everyone starts with 10,000 chips. Build your stack, climb the leaderboard, sharpen your reads. Enter at jointhesharps.com. Scan the QR code on the screen. Use code VSIN50, 50% deposit bonus, up to $100. Easy to use. Just pick your games. Decide how much you want to risk. Go all in or start all over if you lose and come back the next week. Jointhesharps.com. Promo code VSIN50. Jointhesharps.com. Football's here. Enter now. Get your reps in.
Yeah, baby. Week 0 is coming up. Saturday's going to be awesome. You know that you're going to be betting this stuff all day long. You're going to be watching all the games for sure. There are some really good matchups, in my opinion. I can't wait to watch the UNLV-Memphis game. Got a bet on that. Professional sports bettor Brad Powers joins the program coming up. We will get his analysis with a best bet for all of the Week 0 games here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Week 0 is here. Can't wait. Saturday's going to be awesome. Big fan of our next guest, both Pauly and I. And we've talked to him for many, many years here on this show, on the network. You can follow him on X at BradPower7. Website is bradpowers.com. Professional sports bettor joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Hey, Brad, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Long time no talk. Summer's over. Autumn's closing in. We got football.
Great feeling. Great feeling. Let's begin with a conversation here with some of these games that we have coming up on Saturday for Week 0. It's the early game. Certainly millions of eyes will be on this game over in Dublin. It's Bill Belichick in North Carolina taking on TCU. And looking at the screen right now, it looks like Horned Frogs here moving up a little bit. Some spots have 8.5 the way it looks now. Here at circa 7.5. Overall, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, right now, if I had to play something, would lean under. Although 46.5, that's been ticked down here, a point and a half here in the last 24 hours. No big play at current. I'm a little concerned about both teams' situations off the field. I mean, obviously with North Carolina, GM out, DC takes a leave of absence. TCU, I mean, yeah, there's tussles in the locker room, and then there's absolute assaults in the locker room where your starting safety gets kicked off the team and your starting wide receiver so banged up, can't even play in the game from it. So it's tough trusting Sonny Dykes in a role like this. I know TCU crushed North Carolina in last season's opener, and a lot of, when you look at both teams, especially North Carolina, a lot of roster turnover. So, I think there's, I love the price uncertainty, but in this one, there's a little bit too much uncertainty, at least at current. I did bet TCU before all the, the GM news and all the turmoil in North Carolina. You guys know what line I got on that one.
Okay. Your outlook for the Trojans this year, and starting off Saturday afternoon, laying 30.5 to San Jose State.
Yeah, I'm kind of down, at least relative to market. I bet under 8.5 wins for USC. It's not like I'm down on the team. I think that, this is going to be Lincoln Riley's one of his strongest teams. I mean, I got him 12th in my power ratings. I like defensive personnel. I like the 1-2 punch at running back. Maava concerns me in the big games. And speaking of the big games, they've got a lot of them. Oregon, Ohio State, at Penn State, Washington at home. Indiana on the road. They haven't traveled well in the last 15 years. If you look at them, Central and East Coast games, they're 2-16 straight up, and they got a bunch of, Wisconsin could be a tough game for SC. So 8-4 for me, even though I think they are a top 15 team. As far as this game, I like the points. I like a lot of points from both teams, especially SC. When you talk about Lincoln Riley, his offense against G6 schools, how about averaging 59 points per game? Not total score in the game, offense for SC. And when he's been at SC, he really blows out these G6 teams. And San Jose State, pass happy team, over 40 pass attempts per game the last 2 years under Niumatalolo. They'll be pass happy, and that'll play into the over here. I like over 60.5.
Oh, you do? Do you have has there been a better number out there on this game? Have you been a part of a move on this? Overall, what number do you have in pocket?
There was some early 55. I unfortunately did not get that. There was some early 35.5 on SC. Team total, I'm waiting on. That might be actually my preference on SC, but let's let that market get a little bit more liquidity as we get to game day.
All right. North Dakota State from 10 down to 7. I think you're on the win total under as well. What do you think of North Dakota State making the move to the Mountain West and taking on Jacksonville State Saturday?
Yeah, one of my favorite G6 win total bets was North Dakota State under 9.5. So much that I still would take under 8.5, even though it moved a win. So I really love that bet, and that would scream, "Hey, you're probably against North Dakota State in this game." I'm not. Market this one opened as high as 10. I'm not a part of the Jacksonville State money at that price. I did bet North Dakota State yesterday. It was 6.5 at a few books. It still would lean their way at -7, especially with the reduced juice there. For me, a little bit, you can agree with market moves. I'm a part of most of them, but then, not all moves are right. Otherwise, everybody just look at the moves. Okay, that's what the bet. Let's go ahead and bet it. We've seen that in the NFL preseason, not, come to fruition. I think the hidden factor in this game is the home field for North Dakota State, the Fargo Dome. I would argue that this fan base has been apathetic the last 5-6 years. They know what they're getting. They're getting, a national championship every year or two. And now the move to the FBS, the first home game at the FBS, I think you'll get a sold out, raucous environment here. And I would hate to have my season opener in week 0 inside a dome. I'm expecting a lot of procedure penalties for Jacksonville State. I lean North Dakota State at -7.
Okay. Very good. I like that one. I haven't heard one person, I think anyway, make the case yet for Eastern Michigan taking on Sacramento State. But yet the number here at Circa still looks like it's at 10. Other books have 10 on it right now. Overall, what do you have here, and what do you think is going to happen in the game?
Well, I haven't been a part of it yet, but 10, numbers matter. 10, I'm a little interested in Sacramento State. I'm not buying Sacramento State this year. In fact, one of my favorite G6 win total bets was Sacramento State under 5.5. So much that I liked it even at under 4.5. I bet Eastern Michigan's win total over 5.5. So that would scream, I love Eastern Michigan in this game, but I don't. Eastern Michigan is a home favorite the last 6 years, 7-14. This is not their preferred role. And now that we've jumped up, it opened in that 8 range, and now it's up to 10. I'm leaning Sacramento State +10. Waiting for 10.5 to get really involved, though.
How about Virginia up to 5.5 against NC State?
Yeah, I lean NC State here. This is a really good game. It's now designated. It wasn't supposed to be a conference game, but now it's designated a conference game. We moved from, obviously this is supposed to be played in Brazil, moved to a Virginia home game. If you read the markets, and I know it wasn't that liquid when the date changed or the location changed, but I don't think Virginia's home field's worth 3 points. And they were about a 2.5 point favorite. Now they're up to 5.5. I don't agree with that. I got the better quarterback here. I know Virginia's super experienced as far as that. They got a really old roster, but I'll take NC State plus 5.5.
How about a couple of line moves here for, one of them is the marquee game, certainly on Saturday. The other one's a big one as well, revenge game. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional bettor Brad Powers. Website is bradpowers.com, at bradpowers7 on X. Right now, again, a move on Hawaii. They're down to 4 from 6 against Stanford. Overall, your thoughts on what we've seen here in the last day or so with that number?
Not surprised that we're getting some buyback in the marketplace. I was a part of the original Stanford money at 3. Loved it. I still like it at 4. I thought Stanford was the better team last year when these two played in week 0. Stanford beat them at the line of scrimmage. We're driving down the field to seal the game. They get a deflected intercept. I don't know why they threw it, but they threw it, got deflected, intercepted, changed the entire momentum of the game. Hawaii's, I'm not wild about the wide receiver position for them. Stanford with a new coach, with something, they're not going to overlook Hawaii. I mean, normally you'd be worried about that, but I don't think that'll be the case here. My power rankings have this closer to 5.5. I like Stanford here -4.
Okay, and the other one would be the marquee game on Saturday night out here in Las Vegas for at least a few. I think it was probably a good week or so. The Rebels were hanging there as a 6.5 point favorite at home against Memphis. Now down to 4.5 all of a sudden. That number's at circa, and again, at least a couple of other books the way it looks. Your thoughts on that one?
This one, I'm not surprised with the move. Now, again, I'm part of the original move on UNLV. It was 3. Didn't agree that it got all the way out to 6.5. I was waiting to buy back if it ever touched 7, never did. I think some of the reason, obviously a group came in today and bet Memphis, but I think part of the reason why they did that, I wanted Jackson Arnold to take away and run away with this quarterback job. Mm-hmm. Looks like he hasn't. Alex Orji playing a bunch of snaps is not positive for UNLV. Can't throw the football. Mm-hmm. So that concerns me. I agree with a little bit of the buyback on Memphis. At 4.5, it's kind of a no play or no man's land where it was 3 up to 6.5. Now we're down to 4.5. That's kind of the true number. Really good data. And you're going to hear me say this the first couple of weeks. Really good data point for both teams. Memphis, 75 new players, more than any other team at the G6 level. So we'll figure it out here with Charles Huff in his first game. I'll say this, Allegiant Stadium has been a pretty tough place to play for a lot of non-conference teams. It's actually been a tough place for pretty much anybody but Boise State the last couple of years. I think UNLV wins, but I'm not wild about the 4.5 now.
Is this the conference that gets the playoff berth, the Mountain West?
Yeah, because I think you got plenty of options. UNLV and New Mexico, if you're looking at like a projected season win total, are more in that 9 range. So you got some options there. North Dakota State, in that 8.5 range. Air Force is a team that could surprise some. So it's not like you got a runaway favorite in this conference where you have to totally depend on like a Boise State in the Pac-12. So, Boise State deserves to be the favorite as far as the G6, who's going to get that bid. But if you're asking me, the conference, I kind of, this is kind of a sneaky play here. I bet both UNLV and New Mexico to make the playoff.
Okay, and that number on New Mexico was in the 3-1 range?
16-1, but I think you can, if you shop really hard, you can probably find as much as 20-1.
Okay, yeah, to make the playoff. I'm sorry, I had to win the Mountain West, like around 3-1 in my brain. So around 16-1, you think is still available?
Oh yeah, still widely available. UNLV's price was right around 12-1.
Okay, very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll continue with professional bettor Brad Powers. Follow him on X at BradPowers7. There you go. There's one more game to hit in week 0. Does he want to lay the 31.5 points with Florida State? We'll also ask about a best future, win total, how many bets he has overall, and what about small schools that return a lot of players next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue talking college football. One more game to get to here in week 0. Professional bettor Brad Powers on the horn with us. The Progressive guest line on X at BradPower7. Website bradpowers.com. Have you laid the 30.5 or 31.5 with Florida State taking on New Mexico State?
I am not in that one. Not involved as far as the side. I do think New Mexico State will be a little improved. They'll get better quarterback play than what they've had the last couple of years. They're pretty high on their quarterback. I did bet the over yesterday. I was 52.5, still lean at current. I think it's, 53.5. As always, shop around. And the thought process behind it was, I look at Florida State even in down year last year, non-conference G6 games. I mean, they put a 77 spot on an FCS opponent, 66 on Kent State. I think Norvell, obviously there's a lot of turmoil there, needs a feel-good performance. And also, one of the main storylines coming out of Florida State's camp is they really like their backup. Well, the backup's going to get a lot of action probably in this game, especially in the second half, and they like him. If you could throw a dual threat, maybe, the scoring doesn't stop in the second half. So let's go over 53 here.
When you look at their schedule overall, they get SMU on Labor Day night. That's at 7:30 Eastern time. Then on the 19th, they play at Alabama. They have to play at Louisville. They're at Miami, Clemson at home. They play at BC, at Pittsburgh, close NC State in Florida. That is a brutal schedule for a team in the ACC. If he does not completely go over his expectations this year, make a decent bowl game, is Norvell gone?
Oh, yeah, he's gone. In fact, I would argue that if he doesn't beat SMU on Labor Day night, he's very likely gone. First coach fired if they lose that game. And last I checked, they're about a 2.5 point underdog in that game. So, Norvell. I haven't seen a lot of liquidity. I think I've seen it posted a couple times, but $25 type of bets. But he would be the favorite to be the first coach fired
after the second game.
Well, I don't know about that, but keep in mind that, say it's an embarrassing loss on Labor Day night. And then you got that bye week prior to Alabama. If you're going to cut the cord, why not?
Oh, it'd be wild. Okay.
Oh, can you imagine?
Wow.
Well,
that the Vultures are out. That's awesome.
The other spot would be after at Miami.
Okay, October 17th. Another bye. Good point.
The bye after that one, they get embarrassed by their rival. Could have 3-4 losses at that point.
Listening to your podcast, can you expand on the discussion you had with Kanish? On if you're in a small conference and you return a lot of guys, it's a negative?
Yeah, it was good discussion, something that I haven't really put a lot of thought into, obviously, because, it's relatively new as far as the roster turnover, and we got more roster turnover at the G6 level. Why is there roster turnover? Well, anybody that's worth a damn, all conference type players are getting poached from the Power 4, the opponents. I will say I'm always a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to blindly go against teams. I do think even if the players aren't that good, and that probably is most likely, if you return a lot of production at the G6 level, it means your players weren't worth, getting plucked away from the bigger schools. However, there's two sides to every coin. If no one has any continuity and you got some, I don't care that your players, maybe they weren't good. We have seen over the course of time, Bill Connolly does this, Phil Steele does it, returning production, returning stars, whatever metric you're using as far as returning experience, it does matter. It's not the end all, but it's wins more often than it's not. As far as if you return a bunch, you're more likely to improve if you don't return anybody.
Yeah, and to your point, you're doing this year long from a betting standpoint as well. How many bets do you think that you have in pocket as we speak?
Yeah, if we're counting week 1, week 0, week 1, and we're counting FCS bets, we're at 270. Win totals were approaching 100, different teams. So it's it's a typical offseason for me. Didn't get the liquidity like I wanted to. Very tough to get the amounts that I want now in today's day and age at any book, whether it's in Vegas or whether it's some of the more pronounced books nationwide. And even some offshore places. It's really tough to get down. Maybe we start, looking towards the prediction markets. That seems to be the trend line here.
That's what I was going to say next. Mm-hmm. Have you found yourself maybe having more of a portfolio there?
I've started. I haven't, dipped my toe in the water, but haven't jumped completely in. But there was discussions yesterday with a couple of my betting partners that maybe we need to to jump all in on those markets.
Okay.
What's your favorite win total?
Right now, I'd say Connecticut under 5.5. I hate Jason Candle. I don't like the schedule. I don't like that they don't return anybody. So under 5.5, Connecticut win total would be my favorite that I made right now.
Okay. What about another form of a future that could be to win a conference? I know you talked about the two teams there to make the playoff out of the Mountain West, but how about a conference bet or something like that?
Let's keep it simple. I'll give you 3. I'm not overthinking it. They're the conference favorites. Texas Tech, I'd be stunned if they didn't make the conference championship game. So, I mean, they're basically like minus 105, minus 110. Once they make the championship game, they're going to be a prohibitive favorite. I could say the same for Boise State. You're getting plus money there at like plus 150-ish. Don't mind them to win the Pac-12. Because, I mean, basically the Pac-12 is the Mountain West. And last I checked, that's all Boise State does. And they got a returning quarterback and a lot more returning experience than most teams. And then finally, it's up to minus 150. But I think for the first time ever, Miami wins the ACC.
All right.
And again, if they're in the conference championship game, they're going to be at least a 7-point favorite. And minus 146, you're showing those odds there. That'll be really cheap come game time.
That's right. Preseason top 10 that finishes unranked. Is it A&M?
Yeah, A&M would be the most likely for me because I think they're the most likely to go 8-4-ish. I think there's a lot of 8-4, 9-3 in the SEC of the national, because I don't think A&M's a national title contender. I don't. I mean, if you got to rely, you lost 10 draft picks, most in school history, 7 at the line of scrimmage. You've got to rely on Marcel Reed. We saw that at the end of last season against elite defenses. He was pathetic against Miami and Texas. Speaking of Texas, if there's a national championship contender that's at the higher up in the board, that's most likely to disappoint. I think it's the Longhorns this year, especially if they lose the Buckeyes, which I think will happen in week 2.
Oh, you like the Buckeyes there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I bet the Buckeyes. Anything with a plus sign with the Buckeyes, gimme. Because it happens once every, 3 years?
No kidding. Well, with that team and their win total this year, based on how difficult their schedule is, do you have anything on them? Do you have their win total over?
So I did something, you call me square for this. So one book out there allows you to parlay alternative win total. So I was square. I bet Texas over 8.5 and parlayed it with Alabama over 7.5. I just don't think there's, I think there's a little bit of variance to Texas in the fact that, I could see them losing 3 games, but it would have to be an absolute disaster for them to go 8-4. Same with Alabama for them to go 7-5. So I tied those two together. That's all I have on those two teams win total, though.
Okay.
Just that square bet.
So as of right now, what would your best bet you think be with a current number on the board for either week 0 or week 1?
Good question.
I know I'm putting you on the spot there with a zillion games coming up next week.
Yeah, you are. Because, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to stick to my guns. You can find as low as 3.5 now at a few books. I am laying it with Stanford in week 0.
Oh, you are? Okay. Yep. Yeah, another thing here too. What do you make of the Heisman market this year? To me, this is the year. I have one bet just based on a number, I think, but you can make the case for like 20 guys in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not over. I mean, I made some bets, obviously, because that's what I do. But I mean, I'm looking to get heavily involved because it used to be a career achievement. When I was a kid, and even when I was in my early 20s, it was a career achievement award. Mm-hmm. And now it's a flavor of the month. Whoever performs best in the month of November in the biggest games, there's your Heisman winner. So I kind of don't, the last couple of years, I really don't want to get involved until then. Big. With that being said, my favorite one, as far as kind of a long shot, I'm glad I got in front of it. He just got named the starter. I bet Keelan Russell, Alabama starting quarterback. Yeah. Because you look at Alabama's schedule, they should be 5-0 when they're playing Georgia. And if Keelan Russell is playing well, he was 50-1, then he was 30-1. I'm telling you right now, if they're 5-0 and he's playing well, he's going to be like 10-1 at that point.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Did you ever get down on Mensa before many, many months ago based on what you think of Miami this year?
That is the one that got away. Okay. It was 16-1, 18-1, now down, a lot less than that. And then 12-1-ish. I didn't bet it. So you know what that is, folks. If you're watching, run to the window and bet Men's going to win the Heisman. Because I haven't won the Heisman the last couple of years. And I had like a 3-4 year streak where I was winning the Heisman at some good odds, but I haven't had luck the last couple of years.
Brad, can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you so much for hopping on the program today. Best of luck this week, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We got professional sports bettor Brad Powers on the program. Follow him on X at BradPowers7, website bradpowers.com. Up next, the tip jar is open. Your pizza money plays. I'm looking right now at one of the long shots that's more than 1,700 to 1. Details on that coming up next.